statement in my chat saying something like that.
GG. But in the top right-hand corner, representing the Zerg pieces, it is none other than B Muffin.
Whose portrait is that, by the way? Is that Cero?
I have no clue. It looks like an evil demon type of person. Kind of coolish looking.
Bottom, it does look really cool and ghoulish, but like in the bottom left-hand corner, it is our green Terran player. It is Mr. L, representing Beast or Beast and Beast. I don't know how to use your accents. Like there's an accent over the S. How do you say S differently?
Vice.
See. All right, well, K2K, we are on 16-bit once again.
Yep, good map. I like it.
I feel like there's a lot of games that we've actually casted that are on the map, and almost every game that we've casted has been a pretty epic, really eventful match at least, right? Like
I agree.
Oh my God,
the spray. I love it. Being a little bit of a troll with the Terran pieces, Mr. L. Good job, sir. Way to mark your territory.
Yeah, you gotta mark that. He's gonna go for a double racks here, as well as his command center inside of his base. So he's gonna wall off, be a little bit less vulnerable to a banding bust, but that supply depot still is gonna be a prime target for it. But
that's a good point.
I don't think we're gonna. Yeah, I mean, we don't really see banding bust this day and age.
I agree to a certain. You know what? I will be honest. If I see a wall like that, especially if it's not double barracks but barracks factory, that literally triggers the baneling rush for me, because then I can transition into roaches easier, while he has to deal with that. And more than likely, what is his most major counter beyond Hellions or Cyclones? And that's gonna more than likely be a Banshees or something of that nature, and I could just use Spore Crows to defend back at home.
Right. But I always wondered, like, because you know how the buff in the water? It makes me wonder if Terran players are starting to use that more so, even to defend against like a low Jolin or something like that. But
oh, I see. You know what though?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think it's as big of a difference that like it totally changes the game.
Right. I don't think so either. But in higher upgrades, like if it were like a +2 Marauder or +3 Marauder, then I could see the actual difference. But if it's just no upgrades and it's just like Marauder slow, pretty much, it wouldn't be. To me, the difference is not even eye-catching, at least for me. Yeah, it's irrelevant for me.
Yeah, I think so too. And like the map is pretty big that like a roach ravager attack would be pretty slow. You have to travel pretty far, unless they're gonna go for like a Nidus, but
yeah, that's why I prefer the transitional rather than the timing attack, because yeah, they can so encase this area so easily that the third base doesn't come out usually until about the 8-minute marker for most of the games, for the Terran anyway.
Yeah, I feel like the fact on any map where you're able to get a really safe natural base, things like Baneling Bus, yeah, they can work out. Even like early pool don't really work out because usually that's out in the open. So we'll see exactly what B Muffin's gonna do.
Well, he's going for like what looks like to be the 16 stem marine timing attack, with probably a Widow Mine to attach, which is good. That's his solution.
That does make sense. Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually,
he's gonna probably
with that tech lab and then just making marines, and then the 2 medevacs will pop out, and then try to get a little bit of pressure on, maybe kill some queens, maybe kill some creeps. And the beautiful part about this build is that you don't really have to like kill the Zerg. You literally just put pressure on.
Right, and if you can even deny creep, that's a win.
Yeah,
that's good.
A lot of the times you're gonna go to the third to try to get something there.
Going to the third on this map. Ooh, now the third is actually turning into a layer right now, which is interesting. I would probably make it at the exposed base or inside the main, simply because it's just harder to fly into it. especially with
Yeah,
the
and I
forward
feel like
overlord.
it's a target, right? I mean, it's a target, right? Like when you go out at this stage of the game, that drop location is very, very vulnerable. But
Oh, look at this though.
Mr.
He's just
L.
putting pressure on the creep. Almost had the queen there, pushed up with the Widowmine. I love this,
he has
but
to scan here if he
no
wants to kill
scan.
something. Oh, he's going for overlords. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. That's smart.
There's a lot of beams here for the Zerg. I believe, yeah, it is not going to be enough bio to actually like deal with it.
No, nowhere close.
And I don't know. Do you think like getting a queen, maybe it's all right, but
He's doing okay. I still think that he should split up the drops at this point. Use one to go into the base and use the other to continue that pressure, so to keep the Zerg busy. Because here we go with a 4th base for the Zerg player. So obviously still in his macro groove in a sense and doing his thing. He's not distracting him enough to even secure his own 3rd base at this point, even though he's made it.
he is building it, yeah. And this is a little bit different. He's getting a Widowmine with it as well, and it already went off. So unfortunately, it's not going to be able to get any good hit. So it's more so about just keeping the Zerg occupied. And the thing that scares the crap out of me is the fact that the Zerg has droned up this. And this drop hasn't been able to do too much.
That's totally. That's. Oh, did I just hear a Liberator go off?
That's terrifying. Oh,
I just heard a Liberator shot.
I don't know, KT. You may be hearing things, bro. I know it's early in the morning. I hear things when sometimes like, okay, banshees in my dreams. But in this case, I believe that it's mainly going to be these medevacs, and then going to transition into basically bio for the most part. And the 3rd base, it got put down pretty early. I think he put it down around the 5-minute mark, finished the orbital command, and now he's starting to basically get his economy in check. But he hasn't done any economic damage himself. But he's keeping up in the army supply for sure. So Mr.
Smart.
L, definitely, yeah, he's very active. If lack of better words, I think he's definitely being very, very like pokey and annoying, but hasn't necessarily done a lot of damage with it.
Well, he's in a good defensive position, especially with the tanks out, that he's able to basically sit there for a while, even though this Lynx round is gonna. Oh, he just gets the medevac out. The Hydra's almost caught him. That was good. Nice. At least he was paying attention.
Now that it's going to be Hydra, right? So
right.
The tank decision is going to be a good one on his part. So it's okay. Oh, take out the watchtower. I like that too.
+1 attack and +2 armor for the Zerg right now. Almost halfway done. Excellent decisions so far. He's definitely working his way up to Hive as well. I wonder what that decision is all about. But maybe for the upgrades.
I think so, like adrenal glands, even the Ultralisk Cavern. Back before the Marauder buff happened, this would be like a standard kind of get to Hive, get Vipers to deal with the tanks. So usually as a Zerg, you're going to prioritize the Viper, and then you get your Ultra Cavern, and then you start getting 3-3, and then also...
I see what you mean. And also, he's getting that 5th base in the corner, so I guess he can start thinking about higher tech levels at this point. As long as he commits to an attack and at least tests the waters, keep the Terran busy, not allow those tanks to be pushing up like they are right now.
About to be moving out, yeah.
Like you want to slow down this push. Especially with 2-2 almost done. Like, just doing things like that. Making sure that he's aware that the units are out on the map and he needs to pay attention. But the creep spread is excellent. This is just going to slow him down.
Yeah. Zerg player definitely been doing a really good job. But I like the fact that Mr. L pushed out with 2-2, right? Like, usually as a Terran player, you try to take advantage of timing. So
right.
Whether it's Stim, that's when the medevacs come out. Stim and medevac is a really, really big boon to your at least defensive capabilities. And then now 2-2 is another big boost here. And I mean, the Zerg player is only on +1 on the attack, but he does have +2 at least on the defense, which is the carapace. But
he's exposed the tanks.
Yeah, the tanks are not in a spot that he wants them to be.
He's got the watchtower, so he's paying attention to the Zerg movement to a certain degree. But even still, that's very risky.
Yeah.
And the Zerg moving back and forth is kind of weird. But I guess
he's waiting for the Terran to push onto the creep. Because as a Zerg player, you don't want to really engage up. Okay.
I would have taken that engagement. I would have taken it.
You know why though? Because like you don't have to, right? Like the more time you buy, the better it is for you.
I guess you don't have to, but now this engagement is worse off because the tanks are set up.
Yep. And now it's mainly Hydras. The Banes are not finished morphing in. Mr. L is gonna be able to snipe all of the Banelings, and now that's not a lot of Hydras. Not a lot.
And no links to even bait the tank shots, so he just loses just a huge amount of supply. He's still keeping up in production thanks to his macro, but other than that,
we missed something. I'm gonna rewind it real quick.
You're talking about the Baneling, yeah, the Ling or Baneling attack.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I am not at 100% right now, but I will try. So.
Yeah, there was actually 2 attacks.
Okay.
At the time.
So it's gonna kind of stutter around and blah blah. Did want to at least see what had happened with my own eyes. Let's go Temp0. So as soon as the Zerg sees the Terran move out, there are Banelings moving on it, and then they go right in. Oh. Lift it up.
Yeah, that was the first attack.
Didn't do too much. Not that bad, not that bad. But what was the second one that killed 24?
When he splits off all these Banelings here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And even a Hydra to target down that. So while they're doing the dance over there with the tanks, Banelings roll into the middle of the lineup and dash. Oh, Mr. L taking a big old L right there.
Absolutely. It's the only reason why the supply is in Zerg favor at this moment.
Yeah. In any other case, I believe that Mr. L would be in a great spot, but he's trying to make it work for him. He hasn't got an under supply. And he hasn't lost much, right?
You can slow it down, though.
Run bys are really good, but now Mr. L dealing with it. Okay, I'm glad that I saw that. Oh shit! Yeah, the run bys are not working out no more. There are 5 tanks back at home. Like,
and here comes the push though. He left all the tanks exposed by pushing back, and then there you go. All the tanks are gone now.
Yep. And how many remain? 5? The only ones that are back at home to defend. That's crazy.
Yeah, but at least he has 3-3 now, which is so important against Ultralists that are more than likely going to be coming out like 3 or 4 at a time. Yeah, about 2 at a time. Plus he's got Vipers on the way, which is a good idea. I mean, like if he feels like he's going to remax, but if he pressured that 3rd as much as he did, he should have kept that up instead of just allowing him to reestablish his position. Which I think was a consistent criticism I've had of him, but other than that, pretty good by B-Muffin. He could have definitely have had this game. I feel like Mr. L is doing really good.
No, Mr. L definitely, like, with the run buys, is doing him. Because, like, we always talk about StarCraft 2 and, like, Vespene gas is one resource, minerals are, but the attention is always another resource when it comes down to it.
Absolutely.
What you're focused on is, like, one of the most important resources. You look away, and then all of a sudden you look back at your army. I believe the time that has been brought is pretty good. But Mr. L definitely caught on to the fact that run-bys were happening and never really took any other L's after that.
Good point. Though he's still now establishing his fourth base, which is not bad.
Yeah, the creep spread, like, there hasn't been a lot of creep spread denial, and I think it's more so because of the fact that it was more so a couple pushes, right? Like there was a little bit of harassment, 2-1-1, push, and neither of the pushes really were focused on killing creep. It was more so about like maybe getting economic.
I just wish he would spread his tanks out a little bit more so that he can get more area coverage. He doesn't need his tanks clumped up in such a position because only a couple of banelings will definitely take them out. And now
Or
that
Vipers with blinding cloud.
exactly, just
shut
one
it down,
blinding
too.
cloud. Yeah.
Yep. But luckily for Mr. L, there aren't any.
Oh, he
Vipers
just
that
scouted
actually-
it with
Oh,
the
they're
Liberator. Like, and he's out of
Oh.
position here. This planetary fortress is, regardless of whatever it is, it's dead.
At what cost? Does Mr. L take at least a decent trade here after the?
Oh, let's see. Does he chase? Right onto creep.
Oh, he kills the Viper.
That was smart. That was nice.
Yep.
No, he does not chase. Interesting decision making by Mr. L. Interesting
Mr.
decision
L.
making. Oh, the wraparound by the Zerg. Wow, that was smart. Oh, man, he could just go into the main base and just dive, kill as much as he needs to, and he'll just get as much. It doesn't matter how. Even if he loses his whole army, he could just remax on the opposite end.
Oh, the Banelings even take out a bunch of those SCVs too. But Mr. L is not gonna take it. He's gonna go ahead and try to push it himself.
Oh my, wow.
Wow.
And the
okay,
Zerg
okay,
is
we got
pulling
a-
back. Are you serious? Wow. I thought as the Zerg, he's committing with one ultra. What the hell? Like, I know you don't base trade with a Terran, but in that situation, that would have been the best move to make. Like, this fallback is not gonna help him in any scenario.
Nah, Mr. L moving on in, making a really good decision to just push
And
on
now,
in.
and look at the tank spread. He could just
Oh,
back up for days. What he's doing right now with the stim.
Even killing the base, he splits back, and now the Ultra's going into the meat grinder. Oh boy, Mr. L
Mr. L.
taking W's today. What's up,
Wow.
man?
Learning from his mistakes from earlier, that was really smart.
Yep, and I think this is a very critical position.
This is
Muffin,
a game-winning position right
he
here.
lost a bunch of his bases. Yeah, he was actually really dead as far as
He's trying to make banelings in the back, but what is that gonna do against 3/3 Marauders?
Right. Not much, I'll tell you that. Oh, he even sent.
about to find
He
out.
targeted them. And he lifts up the Marines and leaves the Marauders so that the Banelings would run into them. And now he sets up liberation zones. Wow, Mr. L. Gonna be able to do this here. B Muffin has a lot of money in the bank, but does he have the actual revival to make something? You don't make links really.
It's so funny because the Terran is not. Mr. L was not macroing at the same time back at home, so he didn't remake any SCVs. He didn't remake his fourth base. He was just like, I'm just going in,
I gotta
diving
kill
on
him
this.
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He gotta die.